I want to tell you guys a story. I just finished this speaking event. It was an online speaking event. I just finished it, and I'm all excited. And I told this story in this event about how the leadership space works. I was talking about all these concepts about the book and everything. And I realized this story is the story to tell about how the leadership space works. Why does it benefit you? How are you going to use it to help yourself in your life? Because I'm thinking I'm learning, it's so I love to teach and I love to teach lessons, but when you're trying to share this stuff with someone, what's in it for them? What are they going to get out of it? And so I realized this story tells you what you're going to get out of it, right? So this story talks about the 3 principles that elevate your team, your success, and your satisfaction. And I think it really conveys everything perfectly. All right, so here's the story, okay? So one of my students came to me about 3 years ago when I was first putting this stuff out and kind of working it through feedback loops with them and learning how to really give this to people. And she says to me, Professor, I am just not enjoying my work, right? I'm not enjoying my team. I'm not enjoying being a leader. It's just, I feel resigned, And so what I'm actually going to share with you in this story is how this leader, went from feeling disconnected with her team and the people around her to connected, right? She went from feeling resentful and resigned to feeling engaged and excited. She went from being confused, why isn't anybody interacting with her, to totally clear, how can she be powerful with people and get great results? And it's a true story, right? So back into it. So she comes to me and she says, Professor, I'm just not happy. I'm like, what's going on? She says, I survived the 2008, 2009 financial crisis. I got to keep my job, but everybody around me got laid off. And the company put on me 3 and 4 people's amount of work. I'm doing 3 or 4 people's job, and I'm tired. It's it's been 10 years, and now they put this whole team in my world, and I have all these people around me, and that's cool, but I don't know. I said to everyone, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm your leader, I'm your boss, whatever. And, come see me anytime you want. Come ask me questions. I have a lot to share. I know a lot about how the company works. I want to help you do well. Come see me. I leave my door. And she says, I leave my door open, but nobody ever comes in the door. Nobody ever comes to talk to me. Nobody ever comes to see me. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand you. And 2 weeks later, we did a couple of, 2 classes on the leadership space. And we talked about how, your mindset creates your mood and your mood creates your resonance and how people feel who you're being, right? Leadership's about who you're being. We talked about all that. And we learned the 3 C's, which I'm going to tell you about, the 3 principles, the 3 C's: choice, context, contribution. That's chapter 2. And so she comes to me after 2 weeks and she's smiling, so excited. She says, Professor, you're not going to believe it. I'm like, what's going on? She says, I don't know what happened, man, but I did that. I did those classes on leadership space and I applied what you taught me. And people are coming in my office and they're asking me questions. They're talking to me. They're engaging. They're asking me out to lunch. And I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time on my team. I feel like I'm making a difference with people. I'm having communication and collaboration. It's all working. I'm like, okay, great. What happened? She says, I shifted my leadership space. I thought, okay, that's cool. You shifted your leadership space. What do you mean? She's like, I shifted my leadership space. I shifted who I was being. And then it all clicked for me as a teacher. I was like, pop, pop, pop. I saw all the inner mechanisms oh, okay, this is cool. This is cool. Here's what happened, right? Look, who was she being before, right? She was being resentful. Okay. She didn't like the company. So what she was saying with her words was, come see me. Okay. But what she was saying with her being, her mood, her energy, her resonance, right? That's chapter 7, chapter 7 is all about who you're being and how it's actually, I can't get to it right now. Whatever. There's pictures about this, about how our energy resonates out to others, right? So she was being resentful. And so while she was saying, come see me, come talk to me, the door is open, right? The door was open in what she was doing, but emotionally, in who she was being, the door was closed. And people respond to our energy, our vibration. They respond to who we're being. So they weren't coming to see her. So she had a shift in consciousness. She elevated her space, her way of being, her mindset, her mood, her energy, her state of consciousness elevated. And everyone around her felt that. And that's why they wanted to communicate and talk to her, right? That's the function of the mirror neurons that I talk about in chapter 1, right? We have these mirror neurons that connect us. People instantaneously feel our emotions and our mood. But how did she do it? That's the 3 C's. That's chapter 2, okay? She realized she had the power of choice. She could choose to shift her way of being. She could choose how she wanted to respond. She became self-aware, right, of how she was feeling, and she recognized that she was feeling resentful. That's actually chapter 3. How do you become self-aware, okay? She was being resentful of the company, and she realized she needed to choose to shift her context. What's a context? Context is the frame through which you see the world, right? Like maybe it's a rainy day and you think, God, what a crappy day. I don't want to do anything, right? Well, your context is the rain makes the day crappy. Well, another person might say, oh, it's a rainy day. This is my favorite kind of thing. Let's watch a movie. Let's make some popcorn. Let's make some cookies, whatever, right? They have a different context. The rain affects them differently because they see the rainy day differently. That's your context, your frame, your attitude, right? And I teach you how to shift your context in there. And so this leader said, well, my context was the company's using me. They're overworking me. They're underpaying me. I don't like it. And so she was being resentful, and everybody felt that resentful vibe. Nobody wanted to talk to her. Okay. When she chose a context that was more powerful, you know what? This company actually values me enough to keep me on board. Okay. But even more importantly, she chose to be a contribution, and her context became contribution. Choice, context, contribution. When she chose to be a contribution to her team, moving from ego to others, and she put her attention on how she could give to them, elevate them, make a difference for them, it made her vibration go up so much that she just shifted her totality of who she was being, her state of consciousness. That's what the leadership space is all about. The tools to elevate your state of consciousness, understanding that your state of being, your state of consciousness, your state of mind resonates out to others subconsciously.